Hey guys, it's Mr. Mini Painter, and today I'm painting Sirius Black, one of the main characters in the Harry Potter movies, in the books of course. He's the uncle of Harry Potter, and so I really enjoyed painting him, even though he's quite dull in colors. It's not that eccentric as, for example, the other Hogwarts teachers, but he's a nice dude to paint. So I'm going to show you how I did it. First I primed the model black. I then started with some skin tones using Bugman's Glow for the face and hands. It's nice and dark, but it's a good base color for your skin tones. And we're going to be brightening it up by adding some highlights. For a highlight, I used some Cadian flesh tone first, and I covered most of the previously painted skin again. I left the recesses in the fingers nice and dark, and also some shapes on the face, make sure that they are still very distinctible. Next up is Kislev flesh, and you do basically the same process as you did before, but focus on smaller areas, so the knuckles, tips of the fingers, tip of the nose, the cheekbones, the forehead, etc. What you can do is define them first by adding a line, then thin down your paint and kind of blend the area around together. It's a time-consuming process, but the result is very nice. I then wash it with a very thin down version of Reichland Flash Shade to kind of blend those colors together. Make sure that you don't get any puddles, as these shades, they tend to dry up very shiny and very dark. And you don't want any extreme contrast differences than you painted before. Next part. Go over it with some Kislev flesh to re-highlight those brightest areas. Really try and add some extra detail here. Now the next part is the part that we all dread, it's painting the eyes. For this I'm using Palette Witch Flesh, and I try and create some horizontal lines. Make sure to hold your model the way you see fit, you think is easiest, so horizontally, vertically, whatever you want. Make sure you have a steady hand when you do this. I added the pupil with some Abaddon Black, and you can see my two hands supporting each other. So that way you're very steady. Make sure one hand is solidly on your table and the other hand is supported by your painting hand supported by your other hand. Then Rhinox Hide and Abaddon Black as a mixture for the hair. Sirius Black has nice dark brown hair, so you don't want to start too bright. There's also a small beard and mustache. We're then going to be highlighting that with some Rhinox Hide, pure Rhinox Hide, and try and pick out some strands of hair. You can do it like this with a fine tip, or hold your brush horizontally to go against the shape of the hair, and use kind of a dry brushing technique. You can see me doing here, and that way you just pick out the raised areas. We're taking it a little step further by adding some Baylor Brown to the Rhinox Hide and only focus on the top of his head. So the part that would catch the most light or would reflect the most light. I added some tiny details to the beard, just to give it some extra detail. Then pure Baylor brown is an extreme highlight, but just pick out the very, very top of his head, the one strain of hair falling over his face, and leave the middle of his head nice and dark. Mechanica Standard Gray then for the shirt. It's a very tiny part. We are then washing that with some Nuln Oil. Make sure to let it dry before, of course. And that way you can see some nice details coming back. And we are going to be highlighting the edges of the shirt with gray cere. You can create some wrinkles in there. And I also added some fine lines, vertical lines going top down to make it a shirt with a pattern. Even though it's a very tiny part, it's a nice detail. Next up, I mixed some Rhinoxhide, Abaddon Black and Skavenblight Dinge to create a brown-grayish color for the pants and his vest. It's a bit of a dirty brownish gray, which I really loved for the Sirius Black look. I used the same colors, but I kept adding some Skavenblight Dinge to brighten it up and to create some highlights. You can use pure Skavenblight Dinge if you want, or start adding some grays. And for this, I did some highlights on the knees, the top of the pants, the top of the folds. And I kept adding some gray cere, for example, to brighten it up and to take it a small step at a time. Next up, the coat Steel Legion Drab as a base color. It's a very boring coat, but we're going to try and make it a little bit more interesting by adding some lining to that. Be careful around the hands, be careful around the pants. And next up, I'm mixing Steel Legion Drab we used before with some XV88 to make it a little bit more yellowish. The reason I'm doing 2 layers is otherwise the black will be shining through. Then with some Karak Stone, I'm adding some edge highlights to the edges of the coat, the pockets, the folds over here. Next up, with some Rock Art Flash, I'm creating some vertical lines from the top to the bottom of the coat, which gives a very nice detail to this otherwise quite boring coat. The difficulty here is to kind of place them. So what you can do is start in the middle and work your way sideways. I started in the front, and then in the back you have to kind of guess to make it a little bit more even, to even them out. But I was very satisfied with my results. You can see here, I also did the sleeves, also top down. It's a funny detail, but it makes the model so much more interesting. Next we're going to wash it with some Seraphim Sepia, thin that down just a little bit, like 50-50, and use it to kind of blend the colors together and add a little yellowness to the tone. I'm then using Rhinoxhide and I'm dry brushing it on the shoes. I wanted to keep them nice and dark. I did the same with some Mournfang Brown for just a tip of the shoes, and it gives them a little bit of a worn look. Then with some Karak Stone, I painted the wand. You can give it a slight wash if you want. Leadbelcher for the metal details. There's a chain hanging around his waist, and basically that's it. It's very tiny, and you want those details to really come out, so take your time, don't overdo it. Then some Baylor Brown for the buttons. You can use a gold or coppery look if you want, copper paint. I went for a copper look, so Baylor Brown is a perfect color for that. Then with some Steel Legion Drab, I painted the base. It looks like the Hogwarts school floor, kind of a sandstone. I added some greens with Caliban green. Just some blotches here and there, apply it wet preferably, and then go over all of it with some Agrax Earthshade to really let those cracks come out. Then with a dry brush, apply some Karak Stone to get some nice scratches and edge highlights. And then we are done with our Sirius Black. Look at him. Even though his colors are quite dull, I really enjoy the outcome of this model, and I love painting him. I hope this was of any help to you, and if it was, please leave a comment in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like these kind of videos, please consider subscribing to the channel, as I will be making a lot more, and I hope to see you in one of the next videos. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.